You are born knowing your freedom and capacity to create. You are born knowing your right to create. You are born knowing the resources of source with which you create. You know all of these things, and when you deviate from that knowing, that sick feeling that you call fear or despair is only about your squelching your own, in this moment, awareness of your own personal empowerment. Every emotion is an indicator of that. So whatever has been happening in your experience has caused you to be wherever you are. And we want to say a very profound and powerful thing to you. We hope you'll always remember this. Where you are is where you are. Where you are is where you are. And we want you to let loose of condemnation about where you are, wherever it is. And it's easier if you will stop caring where you are in relationship to where anybody else is. Because where anybody else is hasn't got anything to do with your 2 points of vibrational relativity. And when you try to factor them in, you mess up your vibration. That would be like Jerry and Esther off somewhere on their way from Phoenix to San Diego. And let's say they have their navigational system turned on, and the little screen is giving them an indicator, and it's showing them their progress westerly. And then all of a sudden, the system starts to integrate other information about other drivers that are driving in other places. It tells them where you are in North Carolina, and where you are in South Carolina, and where they are in Florida. And all of a sudden, Jerry and Esther are looking at the screen, and they're trying to factor in where they are in relationship to where everybody else is, in relationship to where everybody else is wanting to be, in relationship to where they want to be. And we think that would be chaotic. And we think you should stop doing that. You do that all the time. You try to factor in where you are in relationship to where you want to be, in relationship to where everybody else is, in relationship to where they want to be. You are attempting the impossible, so stop it. Don't do that anymore. It isn't possible. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't get you to where you want to go. It doesn't work. We would think you would give that up. And you would have given it up a long time ago if you cared about how you feel. But you've been trained not to care about how you feel by people who cared about how they felt a lot more than how you felt. And so they trained you to not care about how you felt. And then as they hear us, they say, Abraham, you're teaching my family selfishness. And I don't think that's going to work out very well for me. And we say, and yet you've learned it. And if everybody is selfishly utilizing their own guidance system, then everybody's getting toward where everybody personally wants to be. And can't you imagine a world where everybody is having experiences which are causing them to desire things that they are receiving? Doesn't that sound like just the perfect world, where people get exactly what their vibrational offering is? Can't you imagine a perfect world where each person is personally responsible for what comes to them, where no outside factor has anything? Oh wait, you've already got a world just like that, don't you? Where nobody can affect your experience, where it's only your own vibration. We're not saying that you can't watch something and have it affect your vibration. Certainly you can. But if you're utilizing the guidance system that is within you, you can tell by the way you feel whether you are moving toward something that you want or whether you are not. Well, we've never said it better, and you've never heard it clearer. And we think that we could call this seminar to an end if you'd like to. So let's recap. We'll speak from your perspective. I'm worthy. I'm so worthy that when I conclude something that I want, all of the resources of source line up for me. I don't give a rip what anybody thinks, because what they think has nothing to do with the relationship between where I am and where I want to be. In fact, if I do consider what they think about what I think about where I am, now I've introduced more confusion to my journey. And now my blame of them is valid, but my blame is still messing up my experience. So whether I'm right in my blame or wrong in my blame is still messing up my experience. Whether I'm accurate in my awareness that somebody made a mistake or inaccurate in my awareness that somebody made a mistake, my attention upon their mistake is messing up my vibration. When I look at my government and I praise it, I benefit whether they are praiseworthy or not. When I look at my government and I condemn them, I suffer whether they deserve it or not. In other words, as I look into this smorgasbord, the reality of what's out there must be allowed to be. It's like a well-stocked kitchen. You don't go into your kitchen and throw out all of the ingredients that you're not going to put in your pie today. You don't say, I'm making an apple pie and this Tabasco sauce just does not apply, so throw it out of the kitchen. We say, just don't put it in your pie. And you say, well, I'm worried that it's in the kitchen because it could get in my pie. And we say, it won't get in your pie unless you put it in your pie. And you say, oh, but Abraham, things have gotten in my pie before that I didn't want to get in my pie, and just the existence of that Tabasco sauce makes me worry that it could get in my pie. It's gotten in other people's pies. I saw it on CNN, and since it's gotten in other people's pies, it very well could get into my pie. So I would just feel ever so much better if we would just take it out of the kitchen. And we say, just don't put it in your pie. And you say, please take it out of the kitchen. I so don't want it in my pie. Please, I don't want it in my pie. I don't want it in my pie. Abraham, I've got Tabasco sauce in my pie. It got in my pie and I didn't put it in my pie. And we said, yes, you did. You got it in your pie because you gave your attention to the thing that you did not want. Have you ever said to your child, don't spill your milk? So when you come to understand that whatever it is that you're giving your attention to, you're putting in your pie. But the good news is, whatever you put in your pie, you're getting feedback. So you can always tell. Then it becomes apparent that what your work must be is to deliberately begin moving toward what you are wanting, which means, did you get it? Let's recap. Find the best feeling thought that I can find from where I am. Not the best feeling thought I've ever thought, not the best feeling thought anybody else has ever thought. Don't compare yourself to others. We know how annoying it is, those bright-eyed, sunshine, lollipop, rainbow, fluffy, bushy-tailed Abraham students living happily ever after and flapping in your face, saying to you, don't you know you create your own reality? You need to cheer up. And you want to say, it's not possible that I create my own reality or you'd be dead. Because when they're bright and shiny and you're feeling awful, you can't hear them and they can't hear you. In other words, you are attempting the impossible. The only thing that you must use as your monitor, as your guidance, as your directional indicator is an improvement in the way you feel. So it would be accurate to say any feeling of relief is a step in the right direction. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you'll feel so good that you won't be feeling for feelings of relief. You'll be feeling for bursts of enthusiasm. You'll be feeling for bursts of ecstasy. The joy will be calling you. But in the beginning of your learning to feel your emotions, it seems to work better if you're feeling for a feeling of relief. So we've seen people who have been depressed, who automatically in a knee-jerk fashion find revenge or rage or anger. And the reason they do is because Source, who is over here in joy, is aware of them over there in despair, and Source is calling them toward joy. But you know, no one jumps from despair to joy any more than you can set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM. The frequencies have to match up. So this person who's in despair, when they find revenge, they're moving in the right direction, aren't they? When they find rage, they're still moving in the right direction. When they find anger, they're moving in the right direction. When they find frustration, overwhelmment, they're moving in the right direction. When they find optimism, hopefulness, believing, knowing, they're moving in the right direction. And so that's the point that we're wanting to make with you. You keep being mad at yourself. They keep enrolling you in anger management seminars as if anger is wrong, when anger is a step in the right direction. We don't see you being frustrated and moving easily into anger. We see you feeling despair or powerlessness and moving easily into anger, because your natural tendency is to move up the scale. Your natural tendency, just like the cork that you hold under the water, when you let go of it, its natural tendency is to float to the surface, and your natural tendency is to float into the positive energy. And if you weren't doing that thing you do by beating that drum about that thing that's bothering you, you would float. In other words, so here is pure positive energy, and here is an example of where you may be. Then you go to sleep at night, you come into alignment. Then you wake up in the morning and you begin to focus upon the things that are annoying you as you separate yourself. Then you meditate. You come into alignment as you stop thought. You stop the activation of any resistance. Then you come out of meditation, you answer the telephone, you find the person that's annoying you all of your life, and you go back into discord. Then you croak. Not necessarily that quickly, but and when you do, you come into vibrational alignment, because when you withdraw your consciousness from those things that have activated vibrations of resistance, you naturally go into vibrational alignment with who you are. See how it works? We think you see. So what is it that you want to talk about? We see our value to you in helping you close the gap. That's what we'll do today. Begin right there. Yes. The one exception in all of the universe, he can't get there from there.